everyone. Welcome to Strategies for Professional Growth. This week's module is on emotional intelligence and conflict management. We're going to talk about what emotional intelligence is, what are the benefits of cultivating emotional intelligence in our personal life and at the workplace. We also talk about, as a team player, as a leader, what are some of the best practices that you can follow to emotional intelligence at the workplace. We also talk about how emotional intelligence plays an important role in managing conflict and building customer happiness. We will also go through the 6R framework on how to build emotional resilience. A higher emotional intelligence helps us manage conflict better. So we're also going to talk about the different kinds of conflict that we face, different conflict management techniques, and how to resolve conflict in our personal life and at the workplace, and what are the different avenues available to us, and what do we need to do in different situations. So imagine a world without emotions. We would be like robots, obviously. No emotions, no emotional drama, and there wouldn't be any fun or spice in real life. And obviously, without any drama in real life, imagine what it would be in real life. No movies, no web series, no television dramas and serials. Basically, there would be no entertainment industry. So, what are emotions? Emotions are energy in motion. Emotions are beautiful. It is important to understand that emotions are normal. There's nothing abnormal about emotions. And that is what differentiates us from the other life on the planet. Human beings are the only ones who can think and also feel and appreciate and understand what we think and feel. Emotions are response to stimuli. They carry a message for you and help you understand what you're really feeling and experiencing. As humans, we go through a whole range of emotions, and every emotion has its own place in our life and in our life experiences. There are no good or bad emotions. Every emotion has its place and value in life. Here's a beautiful quote that I really liked, and this is the way it goes. It is very important to understand that emotional intelligence is not the opposite of intelligence. It is not the triumph of heart over head. It is the unique intersection of both. So, what is emotional intelligence? Emotional intelligence is recognizing, understanding, and managing one's emotions and the emotions of others. It is about how you respond to internal and external stimuli. Because how we respond to stimuli and therefore the emotions that are generated in the process affect your behaviors, your thoughts, words, actions, and your non-verbal and body language. In all, this influences how you navigate your way through life each day. Being aware of emotions, understanding them, and managing them helps increase self awareness, empathy towards others, communicate and listen effectively, manage difficult situations and difficult people better. It helps solve problems better. It helps us take better decisions and resolve conflict. Cultivating the skill and ability of emotional intelligence thus leads to healthy and strong relationships with oneself, because you're no longer putting all those different masks to hide the real self, because you no longer are putting on masks to hide your real self. You can be yourself totally and completely. It also helps improve relationships with others. It brings happiness and true freedom, because the emotional baggage is a huge burden that we carry from the past. And when we are rid of that, it really gives us true freedom. And it also brings about optimal health and well being. At the workplace, this translates into enhanced leadership abilities, effective stress management, healthy interpersonal relationships, higher productivity and performance, and greater job satisfaction. A higher emotional intelligence quotient called EQ is an asset. And in fact, in today's world, trumps IQ when it comes to hireability, and employability. So we'll go through the 6R framework on how to build emotional resilience. Now here's another beautiful quote that I really love. This is by Viktor E. Frankl, and this is what it says. Between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and freedom. Let me repeat this again. Between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and freedom. How to respond to stimuli is within your control. So, here are some tips, a framework that will help you build emotional resilience. So, we'll start with the first R, which is recognize. Recognize or identify your emotions. Recognize an emotion and identify the triggers. Why is this important? It takes a while for us to understand that we do have emotions and that we experience emotions, and that emotions are something that happens naturally to the different experiences that we have in life. So, as children, we probably are not very aware of the different kinds of emotions and what is triggering what. But as we grow older, as we go through different experiences, we start understanding that we're going through certain emotions, and as it's like a byproduct of an experience, and then trying to understand what those emotions are. But many a time in life, we really do not spend time and energy trying to understand what emotions we go through, and we just try to either ignore them or just suppress them or bury them, and we go through life pretty much. The first R is recognize. This is about recognizing the emotion that you're going through or the emotion someone else is going through, and identifying the triggers. For yourself, it is about understanding your own body language and the physiological sensations that you're experiencing. When it comes to others, it helps to observe and study and read their nonverbal language and body language. Emotions give information and what anyone is experiencing. It's about what's being said versus what's being really meant or felt. Different people may feel different emotions towards the same person or situation based on their past experience, background, environment, and their personality. Here are some questions that can help understand and recognize what emotion you're going through. So you can ask, what is the emotion I'm feeling or experiencing right now? What thoughts or words describe what I'm feeling? What am I feeling in my body, any part of my body? What are the sensations that I'm feeling at this moment? Is there any discomfort, pain, or tightness? Or is there any lightness, or do I feel relaxed? What do I feel in terms of energy? Am I feeling energized, empowered, upbeat, or I'm feeling drained, depleted, depressed? What is the intensity of the emotion I'm experiencing on a scale of 1 to 10? So these different questions help us understand and recognize what emotion that we are going through. The second R is respect. It's about honoring and appreciating, accepting the emotion that you're experiencing. And the reason behind this is that we do not, we're not very good at accepting our emotions. We would rather pretend that something didn't happen. We would rather deny that we're experiencing something if it's really bothering us. So rather than saying that, yeah, I am angry at something, or I am upset because somebody said something, or I am feeling humiliated because this is what happened, we actually try to suppress those emotions and feelings and try to bury them or push them back, push them under the carpet or just bury them and hope they would just disappear. So rather than suppressing them and denying them and pretending that they do not exist, it's really important to first accept them, express them, and respect your emotions. So expressing is just saying, hey, this is what I'm feeling. And it's okay to feel that way because this is who I am, and under these circumstances, this is the way I'm feeling. So that is honoring and respecting your emotions. So there are no good or bad emotions. And it's important to express those emotions rather than carry the burden of guilt, blame, shame, or fear of feeling emotions or for feeling getting emotional. So in life, we do encounter certain experiences and situations where they do affect us emotionally. And since we are not taught on how to handle emotions at school or anywhere else, what happens is we really don't process those emotions in the right way. So we tend to deny and suppress, resist, or ignore or pretend that didn't happen, and that has a cascading effect. Honoring and respecting what you're feeling is important to resolve and release pent up emotional energy. When you honor and respect your emotions, you'll also be in a place to respect and honor others' emotions. And that will help understand not only yourself, be aware of and be more aware of yourself, but it also helps in the understanding of someone else's emotions. And therefore, which is key to managing emotions in yourself and others. The third R is rationalize. Rationalize is about processing those emotions that we're going through. So emotions are influenced by our thoughts, and the thoughts influence our emotions, and they're just very intricately connected. Our past experiences influence our present thinking, and our present thinking influences the emotions that we're feeling, and together they influence the future that we're creating. So rather than suppressing our emotions, it's important to process our emotions rather than bury them deep inside. Unresolved emotions weave a tangled web and may trigger and cascade a chain of confusing, unwanted, and undesirable emotions, thoughts, and behavioral patterns. Asking yourself clarifying questions helps rationalize the emotions you're experiencing and helps get the big picture and understand the root cause. You may also rationalize through journaling, talking to someone you trust, could be a parent, grandparent, sibling, relative, friend, spouse, mentor, coach, counselor, uh, a leader or a manager, whoever you trust, someone you trust, talking to really helps a lot. Meditation helps a lot. Even taking time to spend with nature or reflection, solitude also helps a lot in processing emotions. So it's all about giving that space and time to process through these emotions. Some of the clarifying questions that you can ask are, what thoughts are triggering this emotion? What thoughts of people or current events or situations or past experiences are triggering this emotion? What is the worst that can happen, or the worst I am imagining can happen? In fact, sometimes it helps to take a reality check. How true are these thoughts? How real are these thoughts? Are they just absolutely true, or are they just conditionally true? What message is this emotion and the associated experience giving me? What need is this emotion fulfilling? What would it be like if I release this emotion and let go of it? What do I choose to feel instead? What may I channel this emotional energy into so that it works for me rather than against me? Who do I need to apologize to or ask for forgiveness? Is it myself or is it someone else? Who do I need to forgive? Do I need to forgive myself or do I need to forgive others? Because sometimes we are so hard on ourselves and we keep beating up ourselves so much that it's probably a wiser thing to just be kind to ourselves and say, hey, yeah, I made a mistake, or I made something, or probably I didn't do this right, or maybe I did it wrong, or something wrong, or something just didn't happen right, and it's okay. So let's just move on. So Recognize it, respect it, rationalize the emotion and the thoughts, and then I forgive myself and move on. In fact, doing this on a daily basis frees up tons of energy, mind space, and time. And do this consciously. Say, I consciously and willingly let go and release this emotion. Response able. Take responsibility for your emotions to improve your response ability. Like we spoke in the leadership module, you have the power of choice at any given instant. And you need to remember that you are the boss and you are the leader who leads your mind, body, and brain. So it's important how you choose to respond to stimuli. That is to be mindful of your emotions and regulate them. Depending on how you choose to respond to stimuli, the brain can trigger something which is called as the amygdala hijack. This is a primitive instinctive response for flight, fright, fight, freeze. This happens when you overreact or freak out in fear, anger, anxiety, aggression. The brain does an emergency shutdown, which takes a few seconds, about 6 seconds, while it takes a few hours to recover. The rational, logical part of the brain is shut down, so it affects our decision making abilities, rational decision making abilities. Stress hormones are released, and our whole body is on alert to respond and react to the emergency situation. This adversely impacts our rational thinking and decision making and problem solving skills, and we behave as if there's an emergency or an equivalent. Repeated amygdala hijacks cause chronic stress, long term anxiety, premature wear and tear of body, and impact health in the long run. Amygdala hijack came in handy during the primitive times when we lived amidst danger of wild animals or other threats. Now, in today's world, there's no such threat. So, it helps understand what triggers are sending us into an overreacting mode or making us freak out or causing panic attacks or anxiety attacks. It's very typical among the student community to convert every assignment or submission or deadline into uh, into a stress trigger, and at the workplace, deliverables, deadlines, or public speaking, or presentations or meetings could all be sources of stress and anxiety to some people. Rather than triggering the amygdala hijack for every such thing, look for ways to manage and handle these situations so that you can cultivate your emotional resilience. And I speak from experience because the beginning of my career, and I'm an introvert, and I'm so afraid. I used to be very afraid of public speaking. Had massive amounts of stage fear, and uh, talking in front of an audience. And I used to have frequent panic attacks. My mind would go blank, and I would just forget what I had to talk about. So this is something that we all go through. It's very common. I'm sure that if you just ask around, there'll be lots of people who say that they have stage fear, that they have fear facing a larger audience. So rather than letting that fear consume you, uh, so rather than converting every such situation into an amygdala hijack, find ways to explore what will make you comfortable and channel your fear into ways so that you can work on those fears, rationalize them, and then take tiny steps to move forward and build your resilience. You may improve your responsibility through meditation, journaling, deep breathing, and maybe some physical exercises where you can prepare yourself emotionally. So, some questions that you can ask yourself are: what triggers amygdala hijack in me? Or what triggers panic or anxiety or stress in me? What makes me freak out or overreact? What does it feel like when I go through such an experience? And what can I do differently next time within the first 6 seconds so that the amygdala hijack is not triggered? Maybe just take a pause, drink a glass of water, breathe in and out a few times, just walk away from that place or take some time to reflect. So, any of these things that you can start building it as a habit will help you deal with these triggers. So, the last star is become resilient. So, how do we become resilient? As I said, it's a process. First is recognizing your emotions. Next, it's about respecting your emotions. The third is rationalizing your emotions. The fourth is releasing your emotional energy. The fifth is building your responsibility. And then becoming resilient is the whole process. So be kind to yourself. Don't be hard on yourself. Learn from your experiences, because our experiences teach us the many do's and don'ts of life. And we have valuable lessons that we can learn from each experience. So carry those lessons forward, resolve and rationalize your emotions so that you're not lugging the emotional baggage around. And if you make this a daily practice, it will help you declutter your mind and free up tons of mind space, energy, and time.